something began in 2010 with the Big Three in Miami that has continued for, really a decade in the NBA.
For more now, let's welcome in our Adrian Wojnarowski, who actually broke this news.
What can you tell us, Woj?
Adrian is here.
It's going to be fascinating to watch the impact that Kevin Durant's torn Achilles has on NBA free agency this summer. The dilemma for Kevin Durant is this. Does he sign a long-term deal, whether it's in Golden State or elsewhere, or do another short-term deal coming off this injury that very likely is going to keep him out for the entirety of next season? Yes, he could opt into a $31.5 million player option by June 29th with the Warriors, but by opting out, his new starting salary, whether he stays in Golden State or goes elsewhere, begins at $38 million a year. And whoever signs Kevin Durant for next season and beyond, that first season is essentially a redshirt year. The player who I think is impacted the most by Durant's injury, Kyrie Irving. Brooklyn and New York, they imagine a scenario where they could sign two max free agents, led by Kyrie Irving recruiting Durant as part of a tandem. And now, whether Durant goes to New York, Brooklyn, stays in Golden State, the team who doesn't get Durant has to ask itself, do we want Kyrie Irving as a solo act? But there are teams around the league who are going to continue to pursue Kevin Durant and will be willing to roll the dice and take essentially a calculated risk on the future of their salary cap, their payroll, and Kevin Durant. But this is going to be fascinating to watch. It is a largely unprecedented situation to see, perhaps the best player in the league facing a year away from the NBA as he walks into free agency. The New Orleans Pelicans are going to draft Zion Williamson with the #1 overall pick in the June 20 NBA draft. And his arrival in New Orleans really gives new Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations, David Griffin, a lot of options in how he's going to pursue Anthony Davis trade talks. Having this kind of impact rookie in New Orleans, a player that Coach Alvin Gentry and Griffin and the entire organization believes will be an impact player from day one, really will color the way they pursue a deal for Davis. This is a group now that doesn't want to bottom out, be in the lottery, and necessarily just rebuild with young players. What Griffin is trying to get back in trade talks for Davis are an all-star player, a young player perhaps on the cusp of an all-star career, and a high pick in next week's draft that perhaps New Orleans can use in a trade to go get another good veteran player. You add that to Drew Holiday and whoever else Griffin can go out using their fairly significant cap space this summer in New Orleans, and the players they'd get back in a deal for Anthony Davis. New Orleans could be a team without AD that is right back into the playoffs because Zion Williamson has that kind of an ability walking in the door in the NBA. That's rare even for most #1 or #2 overall picks, but Zion Williamson is unique, and New Orleans is absolutely prepared to start building their entire organization around him. As the beginning of July free agency comes closer, it's interesting to talk to league executives, agents, players about how free agency is going to shape the league and its teams moving forward. Here's an interesting sentiment I've gotten. Have we seen perhaps the end of the super team in the NBA where you have 3 stars lining up to play together? Does the super team dilute the individual star? Is that what players want anymore? To have to play a subordinate role in a bigger group and lose out on the ability to win MVPs, to have a scoring average, that can get up around 30 a game, to break records. You're seeing in this summer already as it shapes up, players who could stay like Kawhi Leonard in Toronto and have a championship contender going forward, look seriously at going to the Clippers. Kevin Durant, even before the injury, having great intrigue in a New York Knicks team that is bottomed out in the lottery from a team in Golden State that could stay together, win titles for years to come. Something began in 2010 with the Big Three in Miami that has continued for really a decade in the NBA. The question now is, will it continue, or will you start to see the league trending back to one-star, two-star teams where players can have a more prominent role and perhaps the talent is more spread out around the NBA? Certainly, that's the wish of Commissioner Adam Silver, who wants parity, who wants star players in smaller markets to keep teams profitable, to keep the stands full, to keep interest around the league. But we may start to see a shift in that landscape as we head into July. And what's absolutely a landmark appointment in the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers are hiring University of California, Berkeley women's coach Lindsay Gottlieb as an assistant for new coach John Beilein. This is the kind of hire we have not seen previously in the NBA. Yes, Gottlieb will be the 8th woman's assistant on an NBA staff, but there has not been a hiring with a coach from this kind of lofty perch in the college basketball world. Gottlieb is a Final Four NCAA coach. She's been to the NCAA tournament 7 times in her 8 years at Cal, involved with USA Basketball. And Cleveland's general manager, Kobe Altman, recruited Gottlieb with the idea that he wanted to find a high major college coach on the women's side who could impact his new coaching staff with John Beilein, who's also coming from college basketball. He introduced the idea to Beilein, and once they brought Lindsay Gottlieb in to visit in Cleveland, John Beilein was absolutely on board, wanted her on his staff, and joined in the recruitment to get her away from Cal, where she has a perennial top 25 program. In a lot of ways, Gottlieb is a trailblazer for women's coaching to leave this kind of a job, to go to the NBA. Reportedly, she made over $700,000 a year at Cal, and this is a leap of faith that we haven't seen on either side previously. This is a hiring that Adam Silver is absolutely excited about. He has wanted to see his league become more diverse, his coaches, referees, see more women integrated into the league. That happens now with Lindsay Gottlieb leaving Cal Berkeley to join the Cleveland Cavaliers. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For highlights and analysis, check out the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, check out ESPN+.